and welcome to another episode of the Urban Bible Podcast, where we talk about the Bible in a way that everybody can understand. Hey, so I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you've joined me for another episode. I pray that you guys are following along quite well. So today we are getting into chapter 24. So up until this point, Abraham and Sarah finally had that baby that God promised them, amen. And unfortunately, Sarah went on to be with the Lord at the end of the last episode. So where we pick up is Abraham was good and old, all right? He was good and old. He had lived a wonderful life, and God had blessed him in every kind of way you could imagine. I mean, health, wealth, favor. Abraham had it all. Like, he was living the life, all right? And so Abraham called for his chief servant and was like, "This is the guy who was over all of Abraham's stuff, right? He was top dog in Abraham's camp." So he called for his chief servant and was like, "Listen, I need you to make an oath with me real quick. Um, I need you to swear by the Lord, the one true living God, that you won't allow my son to marry any of these little hussies out here in the Canaanite land, all right? Don't let him marry none of them, all right? Because no, we not about to play that. What I want you to do though, I want you to go back to where I'm from, to my daddy's people, and I want you to find him a suitable woman there because these little chicken heads running around here ain't it, right?" And so the servant was like, "But what if I do all of that and the girl don't come? Like, do I take Isaac back there?" Abraham was like, "Oh, nah. Oh, nah. Absolutely not. You will not take my son back over there. God brought me out of there for a reason. You better not take my son back over there." So basically, he was like, "Listen, like, God promised me this son. God promised me I would have multiple descendants through this son. And I don't need him going back over there. God brought me out of that land so that we could possess this land that we're living in now. Even though we're foreigners and we don't really have possession of this land right here, God said this was going to be mine. So I don't need you taking my son back there for him to get comfortable, like, and abandon what we got going on over here." So he was like, "Listen, God gonna do it. God is gonna send an angel before you. He's gonna make sure that, like, when you get there, you're gonna be able to find my son a wife, right?" Right. So, like, but if she don't come back, then you ain't gotta worry about it. You're free from the oath that you made. You can break that promise or whatever, especially if she chooses not to come back, because it just seals the deal. Like, there ain't nothing you can do. It ain't even gonna be on you. But whatever you do, don't ever, 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 ever take Isaac back over there. So the servant did what Abraham had told him to do. So he put the hand under his thigh and swore that he would do everything that they had just talked about. So once him and Abraham had made that little pact or whatever, the servant took 10 of Abraham's camels, loaded them up with all kinds of expensive gifts, made sure they had food, made sure they had water, made sure they had stuff they needed for the road. And he dipped out. He set out to Aram Naharaim and made his way on towards the town of Nahor, which was Abraham's brother. That's Abraham's bro. So he stopped the camels near a well at the outskirts of the town, right? And he had them kneel down. Like, not only did they stop, no, y'all go ahead and sit down. Y'all sit down. Y'all been traveling a long time. I know y'all tired. Y'all go ahead and get y'all some rest, little camels. By this time, it was the evening, and it was about the time for the women of the town to start coming to draw their water, right? So the servant prayed to God and was like, "Listen, God of Abraham, Lord Almighty, please let me be successful in finding Isaac a wife so that you can show Abraham your unfailing love. Like, this is how you going to show love to Abraham, by helping me find this wife for him." he was like, since I'm standing right here beside this well and the women are about to come out and draw from the well, how about you do this? Let it happen so that when I ask one of the girls if I can have a drink, she also offers water to my camels, right? That can be the clear sign that you use. If she happens to offer water to my camels, that's gonna be the sign that this is the lady that you have for young Isaac, right? And he was like, "Come on, God, I need you to show me a real sign. This is the sign that I need. I need you to show me so that I can know that this is really for Abraham and that you're really moving on his behalf." So let me tell you how fast God be working for Abraham, because obviously Abraham during that time was one of God's like top dogs, right? So before the servant had even stopped praying, a young woman by the name of Rebecca had came out with her jug on her shoulder, right? She happened to be the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Nahor. So, Nahor was Abraham's brother and his wife Milcah. So, in the essence, Rebecca was Abraham's great niece, right? She was a very beautiful virgin woman who had never been with a man before. And she went down to where the water was, filled up her jar, and was about to come back. Now, let me pause right here because as I was studying, I realized that every time so far on this podcast that we've come across somebody, a prominent woman, they have, mainly been virgins. And I think that God used this opportunity to exemplify the importance of purity and waiting until marriage. Because even with the whole little messed up situation with Hagar and them, it said Abraham took her as his wife and, they did what they did. So I think that God was like, listen, I need to show these people that I honor the sanctity of marriage. And when I honor the sanctity of marriage, I mean that thing. I would love for my people to be pure when they enter into this covenant. And we're going to talk more about that a little bit later, though. So the servant ran over to meet her. She had just got her water, fresh water. Servant ran over to meet her and was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I please have a drink of water? I've been on my trip. I'm so thirsty. Can you please give me something to drink?" She was like, "Here, drink some." So she done lowered this big old jug from her shoulder and pull it down so that he could drink some. She was like, "You know what, though? I see you got your camels here. I'm going to go draw some more water for your camels until they've had enough to drink." So she emptied out the rest of the water after, the servant finished drinking it. She emptied out the rest of the water in the trough for the camels and went down, took that heavy jug back down to the water, drew some more water, brought that heavy jug back on her shoulder to give some more to her camels or to his camels. And she continued to do that until the camels, were all uh, hydrated and refreshed, right? This was 10 camels we're talking about. We're not talking about no little animals. We're talking about big camels that you sit on, ride on, voyage on. 10. I wonder how many times she went back and forth to that water. But girl did it. She went back and forth to that water and the servant was just sitting there looking in amazement like she really like getting water for these camels. And he was like, is this really me finishing the job? Like, did I really be successful in trying to find, my master's son a wife? Because this girl is doing everything that I prayed to the Lord that she would do. So Buddy is just sitting there looking at Rebecca in amazement, like, homegirl is really like getting water for these camels. So when the camels finished drinking, he pulled out a gold nose ring and two large gold bracelets for her wrists, right? Mind you, these wasn't no little things. These wasn't no fake gold. This wasn't no cubic zirconia gold plated. This was like pure gold, heavy weighted gold, right? Heavy weighted jewelry. And so the servant was like, "Who your people? Who your mama and daddy and them? Like, and do y'all got enough room for me to stay? because you've been so kind all this time. Y'all got enough room for me to come stay?" So Rebecca was like, "Yeah, my daddy is Bethuel. He's the son of Nahor and Milcah. And sure, we have plenty of straw for your camels. We got, food for them to eat. And we even got room for you." So the servant bowed down and worshiped the God because, like, listen, God, you done came through. I ain't even get to finish my prayer, and you done came through. Listen, God be doing it like that sometimes. You can be in the middle of prayer, and lo and behold, here come your blessing that you done prayed for. Listen, God moves on His time and His time alone. You better know that. But the servant bowed down and praised the Lord, the God of Abraham, because of His unfailing love and His faithfulness. Mind you, this is a servant dude. I don't even know if this is like somebody of the same like nationality from like from Abraham's like family, or this somebody he got from Egypt or some of them other places that he invaded. Like, I don't know where this dude from, but he's sitting here honoring the one true living God up and down because he done seen how he moved. Listen, I don't know how anybody can really like not serve the Lord because he be making big moves, okay? I mean big prominent moves. That's neither here nor there. We're gonna get back on track. So the girl ran back to tell her mama everything that had happened. She was like, "Listen, I met this man. I done watered his camels. He gave me these jewelry. Like, you know, she ran back and told him." So her brother Laban, listen, don't forget that name. Laban coming back up in a couple more episodes. Just know that mug. I just y'all keep his name in the back of y'all's mind. Laban was her brother, right? So as soon as his sister came back with the nose ring and the bracelets, he's like, "Dang, you iced out. Where you get it from?" And she like, "Listen, whatever." So he had heard everything that she was telling the mama. Cause he like, "Dang, you iced out, sis. Like, I don't even know how you didn't manage to come up on a nose ring and two bracelets." So Laban, after knowing what he know, after hearing what Rebecca came back to say, he went out to meet the servant and was like, "Yeah, come on, stay with us, bruh. We can tell that you blessed by the Lord, but don't just stand there. Come on, y'all move it. Y'all move it along. We got a place for you to stay. We got a place for your camels to stay. We got stuff for them to eat. Like, we gonna take good care of y'all, right?" So he ended up going back to the family. The servant ended up going back to the family house, unloaded his camels. They gave them straw and feed, for whatever to feed them or whatever. And like him and his men had water to wash their feet because it was customary in that time to wash your feet because it's been dirty. You've been walking on the road with these sandals, and so they prepared a meal, and it was time for them to eat the meal. But the servant was like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. I can't eat right now. I'm hungry. I done been, on this journey for a long time, but I can't eat because I'm here on assignment, all right? I am here on assignment from my master because I got work to do, and I'm not about to do nothing until my work here is done, right?" And so servant did not eat until his work was done. So the servant was like, "I'm going to run down this whole entire story." And it's crazy because I'm about to run down this whole entire story for y'all. So the servant starts off telling, Laban, Bethuel, Rebecca mama, all of this stuff. Like, he starts from jump. So he's like, "Listen, I am Abraham's servant, right? The Lord has blessed Abraham to have a lot, and he is a very wealthy man. He has sheep, cattle, silver, gold, male and female servants, camels, donkeys. He got it all. His wife gave him a son in their old age. Like, I mean, they are 100 years old, right? And my master has given his one and only son everything that he owns. He made me promise not to let his son marry any of them sleazy Canaanite women where we live. He made me promise that, and he told me never to bring him here. But he told me to come here to where y'all were from, to where y'all live, where y'all get down at, where his relatives are, to find his son a wife. And so I asked my dude, I asked him, like, what if she don't want to come? And he told me that if she didn't want to come, she ain't have to come, that I wouldn't be bound by the oath that we made. But he also told me that the Lord, his God, was going to send an angel with me to make sure that I was successful on this journey of finding his son a wife from his daddy's people. But like I said, if she chooses not to come, I'm not bound by the oath. So when I came down, I came to this little spring where y'all draw y'all's water at, and I prayed. I prayed to God, of the God of my master, that he would allow me to accomplish what I had set out to do. I told him to show me the right one to choose for my master's son. I told him, listen, if I ask a young woman to give me a drink and she offers to water my camels, that's going to be the one that I'm going to go with. And I think that's going to be the one that you choosing, Lord. And so then he was like, so before I even finished praying, Rebecca showed up out of nowhere and I asked her for a drink and she gave me a drink and she watered all my camels. And so when I asked her whose daughter she was, she told me that her grandparents were Naor and Milka. To my surprise, that's my master's brother in them. Brother, sister-in-law. So I put that ring on her nose and them 2 bracelets on her wrist. And then I bowed down before the Lord and I worshiped the Lord, the God of Abraham, because he had led me right to where the woman was that he had for my master's son. Now, I need y'all to tell me what you gonna do. You need to let me know what it's gonna be. You either gonna show me kindness or you not. That way I can know how I need to move from here on. What's crazy to me is this servant who does not usually worship God is over here worshiping God because God is moving on that man's behalf, right? He is moving on that man's behalf. But what really tripped me out was God put him right where he needed to be. Like, he knew he was coming to Naor's town, but God had positioned him exactly where he needed to be to find exactly what he was looking for. Think about how many times God puts us where we need to be because what we're looking for is about to come find us. Like, when we are willing and submissive to the Lord and we are following his directives and we doing what he say, he will make sure that we are in the right place at the right time to receive the right blessings that he has for us. And I mean, with every part of my being, that God knows how to move big time. Like, God be making big moves all around. Like, I mean, listen, I can't even explain how he moves, but God be moving big time. For example, we had this friend, right? Him and his family, were going through some things. And so God told him to leave where he was in the middle of the year, right? And so God tells him to go somewhere else. And he like, I don't know why the Lord told me to do that. Like, it don't make no sense. Fast forward some months later, this lady at the new place approaches him and was like, listen, y'all got da 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 da. And they like, no, we da 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 da. And this lady blesses them in ways that you could not even imagine. But had he not listened to God, had he not been submissive to the word of the Lord, he would have missed that blessing and missed a big opportunity for his family. So we bless God for putting us where we need to be when we are following him and doing exactly what he told us to do. All right, so after the servant then ran down everything to the family of Rebecca, Laban and Bethuel answered and was like, the Lord is obviously with you. So it ain't really nothing we can say one way or another because, like, the Lord had already gave Rebecca over to you, so to speak. So here's Rebecca. Go ahead and take her so that she can go and be the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has already said. So when the servant heard this, yet again, I don't even know if he prayed to the Lord or not, but he bowed down and worshiped God because the God was moving on his behalf. You got to think that he just made his master a promise that he would bring back a wife for his son. And less than, I don't even know how long it was, but like less than a few hours, he had already accomplished his mission. As soon as he hit the town, he found the right one. As soon as he hit the town, he found the right one. So here he is worshiping the Lord again because everything is going the way that it was supposed to be going. So the servant then brought out gold and silver jewelry, expensive clothes, and presented them to Rebecca because, like, they had to pay a little bride price or whatever. And so he's like, listen, let me lavish you with these gifts so that you'll come back with me so that you can marry my master's son. And in addition to that, the servant also gave her brother and mother expensive gifts. Like, I appreciate y'all letting me take y'all daughter, y'all sister. I'm gonna let y'all have some of the gifts too because I'm just not gonna up and leave with her. Like, I want to compensate y'all for your troubles. Back in the day, it was customary to present a like bride price for a woman. So I guess that's what that was. So now that the man had done everything that he came to do, they all ate. They ate that meal that was prepared. I bet it was cold though, because he sat there and told that whole story all over again. But neither here nor there. So after they ate the meal, him and his servants they spent the night at Laban and them's house, just resting. And then the next morning, the servant got up and was like, "Listen, we got to be going." However, her brother Laban and her mother was like, "No, let her stay 10 days and then y'all can go." So the servant was like, "Oh, no, bruh. Oh, no, I know you're not trying to hold me up. The Lord done blessed me to be successful in my journey. Don't you dare hold me up. Let me go on about my way. I need to get back to my master because he going to think I failed and we ain't about to go through that. Let me go back to my master." So they were like, "All right, let's ask her what she want to do." So they called Rebecca over there. Was like, "Will you go with this man? You willing to go with this man? You cool? You cool with going with this man?" And she was like, "Yeah, I go. I go with him." So they sent Rebecca on her way, but they sent her, the woman who had nursed her, who had like nursed her from the boob from when she was a child, and all of her servants. And they sent her, all of them, Abraham's servant and the servant's men, on their way, right? And so they blessed Rebecca by saying, "Our sister, may you be the mother of many. May all your descendants take over the lands where your enemies are." Like they knew Rebecca was about to be great. And so Rebecca and her servants loaded up on the camels and they followed Abraham's servant and the men. And so they went on about their way. They went ahead and left. Meanwhile, back at home, Isaac was out there at home, and he had went to Bear Lahai Roy, somewhere over there next to where they live. And while he was out there walking and meditating in the fields, he looked up and saw a little caravan of camels coming along, right? And so when Rebecca looked up, I don't know, wait, let me back up. Isaac was out there meditating and walking in the fields. I guess he was just trying to clear his mind. I'm assuming he was just trying to clear his mind. But yeah, he saw them coming. And so when Rebecca looked up, she saw Isaac. She quickly got off that camel. And she didn't get off the camel because she was eager to meet him. She got off the camel because it was a sign of respect back in their time. Like, you don't just sit up on the camel like you all high and mighty. Like, you get down and you show reverence to the people around you, I guess. That's what I think. That's what I think was happening. So, as they got closer, Rebecca was like, "Who was that out there? Who was that walking in the field to come meet us?" And the servant replied, "That's my master." Even though he was Abraham's servant, Isaac was technically his master too. So he was like, "Yeah, that's my master." So Rebecca covered her face with a veil because she was about to be this man's bride. Like, I don't want you to see me until it's time for you to kiss me or whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying. However, in my studies, I did read that getting off the camel was a sign of respect, and that covering the face was like preparation for the bride. You know what? I wore a veil for my wedding now that I think about it. But yeah, that's kind of what that was about. She went ahead and covered her face because she was approaching her master, or her soon to be husband, the servant's master. So the servant told Isaac everything that he had done, everything that he had went through to try to get him a little wife or whatever. Listen, what I say, Isaac ain't waste not now bit of time. Isaac didn't waste no time. All right. He took Rebecca in his mama's tent. You know, his mama, God rest her soul, then went on to glory. But he then took her in his mama's tent and took her as his wife. Now, Isaac loved him some Rebecca, right? He loved him some Rebecca. And she actually brought comfort to him since, his mama's passing. So, again, have you realized that every time somebody be having sexual relations so far in our studies that the man takes them as their wife? Again, I think it's a whole purity thing, but I think it also shows like the deep connection that you have, or the deep connection that sex creates between two people. Like, them soul ties be real, okay? And when you connect yourself to somebody, you are really like tethering your souls together. And yeah, I think that's why it's important for you to be mindful of who you laying down with and getting up with, because some of these souls you might not want to be tethered with, like, at all. I was gonna say for long, but at all. You might not want to be tethered with the souls like that. And I think that's why when Abraham slept with Hagar, Sarah hated him, because now you attached to somebody else. Now you didn't open yourself up to somebody else. Like, nah, I don't like that. But in reverse though, Isaac went ahead and slept with Rebecca, and it made their connection like even stronger. So because in the sanctity of marriage, they had planned on being married. Like, that was the whole goal. He was just trying to, consecrate the marriage in Jesus' name, amen. So yeah, I think it is important to be mindful who you lay down with and who you get up with and who you walling around with in the sheets or wherever y'all at, because you're creating these deep connections. Some of these deep connections can hurt you more than they can help you. All right. So that is all for today's episode of the Urban Bible Podcast. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Urban Bible Podcast. I hope that you have enjoyed this story. Can y'all believe that this is like chapter 24? This was such a long chapter to go through, but it was a lot of stuff packed in this little chapter. Actually, it was a story inside of a story, if you will. But I greatly appreciate y'all rocking with me. I love it here. I love that God is allowing me to tell these stories and to to walk through the Bible the way that He is. I don't know if I really would have did it if I had to do it on my own, but me trying to be obedient to the Lord, I'm walking with it. So I hope that y'all continue to enjoy these episodes. If not, y'all please send me feedback. Like, I want to make sure that y'all are having a good time here, because I'm having a good time here. Sometimes I sit down and I be like, man, I don't even want to do this, but I start and I be like, yo, this is a trip. This Bible is a trip, but we bless God for his written word, amen. And so, as always, I pray that something that was said today prompts y'all to get into y'all's word, and that y'all have a deeper connection with the Lord, a deeper relationship with the Lord. And again, anybody that has any prayer requests, you can send them to me at the urbanbiblepod@gmail.com. I love y'all so much. I'm excited about this journey, and I'm so glad that y'all are coming along on this ride with me. Like, I just so ecstatic. Anyway, I love y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, wonderful night, wonderful whatever it is to you right now as you're listening. But we gonna talk to y'all in this next episode. All right, y'all. Peace out.